everybody?
Good.
How
Live
was
stream
it?
is starting.
What?
Live stream is starting.
Yes, exactly. Now we have a live stream and it's on the YouTube, so we're not going to lose it. Everything is fine. We're going to speak fundamental issues, fundamental things. Angelica, hi, good to see you also. I met your friend today, but you can send her the link if she wants to come inside. I don't know. If she wants, you can send her the link also. Hi, everybody. Good to see you all. Long time no see. This is because where we lost Lara. We lost Lara. What's happening with Lara? Because of the holidays of Israel, and hope you're doing well. Wendell, good to see you also. Travis, you're starting to grow up your beard, you know? Your wife is allowing you to do that?
She's not complaining yet.
Okay, fair enough. We had here also the couple from England. Where are they? Here they are, Angela and Mike. Good to see you. Picture, this is a picture. Okay, let's start. People, with your permission, let's start. You know that yesterday, on Shabbat, good to see the England people. Did Rabbi Dov spoke with you or not yet?
Not yet, no, Rabbi.
Okay, so he will speak with you. Okay, fair enough. He's working hard, you know, with the England people.
It's extremely hard work.
Those people, you know, they're living forever, you know.
Yes.
Look at the Queen, for example.
He's spoken to Rabbi Abel. And Rabbi Abel has contacted us.
Very good.
Tough in England. We're just tough people to get through to.
It's winter here.
We can see that. No, but in British Columbia and Canada, they already had the snow yesterday, right? See, I have spies there.
Blame Dan.
We've just got rain, lots and lots of rain.
Fair enough. Okay, so you know, all of you know that yesterday we started to read again the Bible. Now, in the Hebrew tradition, one of the things that we have is that every year we're reading it again, and we're going another step of depth, profound understanding, more understanding, and everything else. It's never boring. If someone is saying to you that to read the same thing again, it's boring in the Hebrew tradition, so something there is not right with him. As I said a few minutes ago, I said to people that one of the most fundamental issues of the Hebrew tradition is to ask questions. Even not to give the answers, to ask questions. You know, the most important night that we have, here's the first fundamental issue that I'm going to say. The most important night that we have in the Hebrew tradition is the night of the Passover, what we call the Leil HaSeder. Now, this night must start with questions. Even if you are the most smartest person in this world, and you know all the Torah, and you have everything, and you're doing the Leil HaSeder, you're doing it, you must start with questions. And the reason is very simple, because when you ask questions, you're managing to broaden your minds. We call this bringing your roof ceiling and going up another stage, continuing on more and more. So, you know, if I will compare this, for example, to other religion, let's say, for example, someone that believes in Trinity, for example, okay, just for an example, and you will ask questions, what they will say to you. If you're asking so many questions, you don't believe enough, right? Now, in the Hebrew tradition, you need to ask questions. It's more important. By the way, I also said that in the Maimonides, in the halachic side, if you're sitting in front of a rabbi and you have a question and you don't ask, so you're doing an avera, you're doing something wrong. You must ask. You have no permission to sit in front of a rabbi, to learn with him, and to have a question and to store the question inside you. So this is why every year when we're learning the Bible, we are going one step ahead. So I think that it's a very important time to mention, to speak, to remind us of a few fundamental issues that are related with the learning that we're doing in Genesis, And from next week, we will continue on from where we are. And I want to start with the first important thing that I saw that there's a lot of debates about this. So to start with this, I want to, let's share the screen. Let's see something from the beginning of Genesis. Genesis chapter 1. We have here in the beginning of God's creation of heavens and earth. And I said more than once that this word in the beginning in Hebrew doesn't make any sense. It's not a sentence that is reasonable in Hebrew. Okay, it was supposed to start Bereshit, when God, it's not, the sentence here is not, it doesn't have all the rules of the sentences of the Hebrew. And for this, we need to see Rashi for a moment. Travis, please read only these parts. Look here.
In the beginning of God's creation of, this verse calls for the midrashic interpretation because according to its simple interpretation, the vowelization of the word bara should be different, as Rashi explains further.
That's it. This is enough. Now, again, the interpretation here is, the translation here is not 100% good. In the Hebrew, what Rashi is saying, אין המקרא הזה אומר אלא דורשני, כמו שדרשו רבותינו ז"ל. Or I will say it in English, okay? This verse is saying that you must learn it through the words of our sages. You won't be able to understand this verse without the explanation of our sages. So to understand what exactly the meaning of this, and this is what I wanted to show mainly, let me jump for a moment. Where is it? Let me jump for a moment to Deuteronomy, okay? In chapter, I forgot what chapter, just a moment.
It didn't switch to Deuteronomy.
Excellent. Oh. Maybe it's, no, it's before that. Just a moment, just a bit before that, sorry. Okay, Travis, it's okay that you will read today? Organize your throat. You want some whiskey or something that it will,
No, I'll tough it out here.
Fair enough. So we need to read now from verse number 8 till verse number, the end of verse number 11, please.
If a matter eludes you in judgment, between blood and blood, between judgment and judgment, or between legion and legion, words of dispute in your cities, when you shall rise and go up to the place the Lord your God chooses, you shall come to the Levitic Kohanim and to the judge who will be in those days, and you shall inquire, and they will tell you the words of judgment, and you shall do according to the word they tell you. From the place the Lord will choose, and you shall observe to do according to all they instruct you. According to the law they instruct you, and according to the judgment they shall say to you, you shall do. You shall not divert from the word they tell you, either right or left.
Okay, so again, unfortunately, I must say that the translation is not 100% good translation, okay? And I need to show the Hebrew, and I will explain those in the terms, what exactly is written down. It says basically that there might be differences of understanding the Bible, understanding by the way, I don't like the word Bible. This is another issue. The Bible is wisdom. Okay, it's coming from the word in the Latin. Okay, the word Bible of wisdom, and the Torah is not a wisdom. The Torah is the will of God. It's something else. It's spiritual. Okay, it's something else. But never mind that. Okay, let's put this aside. Let's go with the word Bible that everybody knows. But there is, as we all know, there are a few sages all over the country, and some of them think or understand to explain the verses in one way, and others understand it in another way. And this is why they have some, I will say, fights, or they don't know how to explain. They need to go to the main place of the Hebrew nation, and this is, we know that it's Jerusalem today. By the way, this is a system how we didn't have any argument in the first 1,000 years of the Judaism, of the Hebrew nation. We had no debates between the rabbis, because this is the system how we're closing all the debates. They're going to Jerusalem, and this is where they're deciding what to do. And those, we didn't read those verses, but those who are not going to follow up the main Supreme Court in Jerusalem are going to get death penalty. Okay, this is what's written down in verse number 12. The one that is not going to listen to them is going to get killed. Okay, he shall die. But I don't want to go to this. I want to speak about the two, I will say, the two realms that we have with this understanding of the Bible. We have one in verse number 10 and one in verse number 11. In verse number 10, we have that we shall do according to the word they tell us. What is the word they tell us? We call this the oral law. This is how they are speaking. They're speaking with us. This is exactly what Rashi said to us before, that if we don't understand the Bible, we need to learn it. By the way, it's not that what he said. He said, we need to learn the Bible in the words that they are telling us. It's coming from here. There is also the secondary way, okay? Al pi haTorah asher yurucha. What is al pi haTorah asher yurucha? According to the Bible, according to the law, Torah is laws, okay? According to the will of God, that they will instruct you. So there is the written thing, but there is also an oral explanation of the Bible. You can't explain the Bible only with your wisdom. Now let's go deep a bit inside to this thing, because it's very important principle that we're going to speak about, or that I'm going to explain. I'm sure that you all know about a very famous person. His name is Immanuel Kant. You've heard about him? I'm sure that all of these knowledgeable people that are here in the internet have heard about Immanuel Kant. This is Immanuel Kant, a very, very big, great philosopher in the 17th century in Germany. And he had, I will say, three main issues or notes that he said that we need to go accordingly, okay? He said three things. He said that, what do I know? What do I need to do? I must do. And for what can I hope that will happen? Those are the three things that he said. What do I know? And he had a very important, I will say, way how to explain everything. And he have one of the most important books that he did. I think that you all know this book, or you've heard about it. Critique of Pure Reasons. How exactly, and this is the most fundamental philosopher. Basically what he did, it's like Copernicus, okay? What Copernicus did? Copernicus, the whole ancient world, especially the Christian world, were very hard holded the idea that the man is standing still, and all of the stars, sun, the moon, everything else is moving around men. Okay? Copernicus said, no, the sun is standing still, and the man is turning around the sun. The earth is turning around the sun. So Copernicus turned everything upside down. We were sure that we're standing and everything is turning around us. No, we are moving. Okay, and the sun is standing still. And the same thing, this is what Immanuel Kant did in this book. Until his time, everybody was sure that there are a few fixed things in this world, and we need all of us to adjust ourselves to that thing. And suddenly he came and he said, no, it's all relatively depends how you understand it. And there are things that maybe I understand in one way and you understand in a different way. So he just did everything upside down. By the way, he said that there are 4 antinomies of the reasons, of the thoughts, that you can't come to the bottom line logically. One of them is this God or not? Another one is did this world was created or not? You can't decide logically one side or another side. Okay, the decision that the philosophers took that the world wasn't created, it's an assumption. It's not something that you can prove with your mind. I can tell you that also the Maimonides said it a few hundred years before him. Also Rabbi Yehuda Halevi in the Kuzari book said it a few hundred years before him. Fair enough. Okay, the Hebrew sages always said that you can't take on yourself anything that will be against the pure reason. I will say it like that. Okay. Of course, everything's supposed to be also very logically, because God created also the logic. But I'm not going to this issue now. What I wanted to say more is, if we will ask ourselves, when Immanuel Kant is saying that you need to behave in a moral behavior. For example, you're not allowed to kill, or you're not allowed to steal. Those are things that he said, and it's reasonable to say those things, okay? If everybody will start to kill, we see today by ourselves what's happening there in Ukraine, when some person decided to start to a fight with no real good reason. So you're not allowed to kill, you're not allowed to steal, fair enough. But what is, I will say, the source of Immanuel Kant? What is the stone that he is relaying on? His mind, right? Let me say this in a very hard way. Immanuel Kant is worshipping a pagan way to his mind. You with me? You're starting to realize what I'm saying? It's very simple. I'm very logic. Immanuel Kant decided that he have the most pure sense of mind. He is the most logic person in this world. And it's reasonable to demand from people not to kill, not to steal, not to behave in his sexual moral behavior, to do those things. But what is the reason why he is doing those things? Because his mind told him that it's very reasonable not to do those things. So who is his alien? Who is his God? His mind. He is worshiping his mind. If we will start to speak about clothing, for example, and he will go, Immanuel Kant, who is sitting in Germany, it's cold there, especially if you don't have the gas of the Russians. So it's a bit cold there, especially in the winter. So Immanuel Kant will say to you, it's very important to wear clothing with a full manner that you won't be naked. But if he will go to, for example, to African people, where it's very hot there, and they're putting only feathers on their head, that's it. Except for that, they're not wearing anything. There are people like that. For them, it's okay. He will say to them that they are not They're not thinking right. They will say to him, you're not thinking right. Okay. If all of my, I will say, reliable thing or the measurement that I'm taking is coming from my thoughts, so I have one thought, another one have a different one. Okay. So maybe there are places in this world that a person can take few wives and to live with few wives. Who said that it's not good? Because the modern world doesn't accept that today. I don't know. I will tell you a secret. There are places in the Amazon area that few women's, okay, are taking one person as a husband. There are places like that. The women's are controlling tribes like that in the Amazons. The women's are controlling the men there, and they're deciding who to take, when to take, what to take, and when to throw out, and everything else, as it's convenient for them. When you're saying that everything is starting from your mind, so there are different cultures, there are different places, there are different thoughts, there are different minds. And who said what is the most moral thing to do and what is the less moral thing to do? Fair enough. And so one of the most important things of the Hebrew tradition is exactly this thing. We believe that God gave to this world something from outside of this world. He came from outside of this world and he taught us, he spoke with us, and he gave us this thing, okay, that we have no possibility of understanding without him, without his appearance to us. Okay, if I'm going to Genesis chapter 1, let's go for a moment. If you will ask, for example, this British, very high famous scientific person who said there is no God, and everything started with a law of gravity. What's his name, Angela? Mike?
Dawkins.
Hawkins, okay, for example. So what Hawking is saying basically, that everything started with the chaos. Verse number 2. Everything started with a very big chaos. In my reasonable way, in my reasonable thoughts, I can come to the chaos. I can't understand, or I can't think about something that God decided to create everything. This is what the Bible is exposing in front of us. Now, let me explain this verse for a moment, because this is also a very fundamental issue. It says that God, who was here in the absolute way, nothing could have been here when there is God here. It's like the sun. When the sun is appearing, so you can put a candle, you can put even a fire, a bonfire, or something like that. But nothing is compared to the strength of the sun. So think about this for a moment, that God is like the sun, fulfilling everything here in this world. And he decided with his own free will, God, to give space to others. Now we have a place here. It's something that he did with his kindness. Now we will never ever think like that if he won't come and say to us, this is what he did. So we are learning here two things. First of all, that we are not relying on our own minds, on our brain. I said it today to another group, that we are never, oh, let me find it. Maybe, I think I have it here, still on the, here it is. Can you see my screen? No. Can you see my Word? No, let me stop. Can you see the Word document? Can you see?
Yes, Rabbi, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So this is the Kuzari book. Sorry about. Please read this bold sentence, Tavis.
Heaven forbid that there should be anything in the Bible to contradict that which is manifest or proved.
Very simple. Okay. You know why? Because God created also the brain. Therefore, it can't be that, and we are very, I will say, it's very important for us to understand that we are in a unity world. And God, who created man, who created the soul, he also created the brain. Therefore, there will never be any contradiction between a real, something that was proved, or not assumptions. I'm not speaking about assumptions. A lot of the science is also assumptions. I'm not speaking about those things, okay? But everything that was proved, you can't say no. Faith is something else. The word faith, by the way, is something else. I hope that the film of the word faith is. I'm going to take this out hopefully tonight, or maximum tomorrow morning, in my time. So we have here, God said to us, listen, I am exposing myself, and I'm coming and I'm saying, now, if you're not killing because you decided to listen to your brain, it is different. Or if you're not killing because you decided to get connected with me, God, that I'm also giving life here. I gave you life, and I'm demanding you not to kill in the 10 Commandments. So if you're doing those things with the intention of getting connected with God, it's much more, I will say, giving great meaning in life for something that can go bigger and wider than just the closed world that we have. And the mind, even of Immanuel Kant, the mind can't go out from the world. God, who is outside the world, what we call the infinite, okay, that is coming from outside the world, is giving us the possibility of growing up to an endless part. God, who created us, he created us in a very complicated situation, okay? He created us in a situation that on one side, we are very nature, the body side, and the mind that we have is part of the body side. And on the other side, he gave inside the spark of God to each one of us. It's not only for the Hebrew people, okay? For everybody, of the soul of God, right? So what we have now is a situation that man is a very complicated creature. He have the possibility of being in his spiritual side much greater than himself, and on the body side to stay on the level of this world. That's all. Where do we see this difference, or the main point of the difference? Go to the Paralympic games that we have. Straight after the Olympics, always there is a Paralympic. You know that? The Paralympic with all of those people who are disabled people, okay? And you see that the spirit side is managing much greater than the physical side, right? So a man is a very complicated person. He is in one side, a nature side, very close in this world, and on the other side, he have a spiritual side that he can grow much bigger than himself. And it's one of the most fundamental issues, and I'm saying this also all the time, and now we're starting to realize it is a free choice to men to decide, man, woman in this world, if he is accepting on himself that he was born from an infinite and outside part of this world, God, or that he is part of a nature that grew up here from the monkeys. Okay, it's his decision. I don't know what is better, to come from the monkey or to come from the dust. I don't know. I don't care even, I don't care, because today I'm not the first man in this world. I'm not Adam, so I don't care. But at the end of the days, this is my decision. I hope I didn't lose you. You with me? It's every person's decision to decide what stage is he taking. And this is also Immanuel Kant showed us, that in the brain side, you can't, it's one of the antinomians that you have. You can't force or you can't prove that God was created, that God is existed or God is not existed. This is one of the four that he showed in this book. It's a very hard book, but you're more than welcome to start to learn it. You have it also in English if you want to learn it, this book. Okay. But he's giving there. He is proving that you can't force logically that God is exist, and you can't force logically that God does not exist. You can't force logically that the world was created. You can't force logically that the world wasn't created, you know? And why is that? Because God really gave us free choice. Think about this for a moment. If you can prove that God is exist, okay, 100%, so no one will have really free choice. And this is another fundamental issue that we have here, that you have a free choice how to do, how to behave. You can decide to be a moral person because your brain told you, and this is where you're starting to worship your brain, or you can decide that you behaving in a moral way because God told you, and you want to get connected with God, to behave like God. And this is where you can be much more inspired, not to be closed in your world, but started to speak with the infinite. Another very important point that we have in our parsha is that, and this is very important, and this is something that you can find it also in the book of the Tanya, in the book of the, all of the Judaism is full with this. I have more than one of the Noahide people who told me that this is one of the most hardest things for them when they decided to move the step of becoming a Noahide. In the Hebrew tradition, one of the most, I will say, highest level of men, uniqueness part of the men, of the human being in this world, even bigger than the angels that we have in this world, is that men have the ability and the necessity, God is asking him, demanding him to do actions. To do actions.
Yeah, I'm listening.
We call this mitzvot, okay, mitzvot, and I said it more than once. The word mitzvah in Hebrew is coming from the word team, to become the team of God, part of team of God. Okay, we call this mitzvot, but basically it started with this that God said to Adam and Eve. Let's see it again. It's written down, very simple judgment.
Rabbi, looks like your page frozen. Rabbi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It looks like we might have lost him for a minute. Hopefully that power flicker wasn't a big deal that they just had.
And I also got a message from Dan. He apologized. He's not able to join today.
I know that feeling.
In the meantime, is everyone else keeping well?
Yes.
So all we can do is ask and find out. We're a group together, so we have to keep looking for each other.
Yeah.
Yes, and at least passing the pleasantries like that, we know we are all still together, alive, kicking, whatever. I'm sure the rabbi will be back shortly, but until then, rather than sit and just look at our faces, surely we should talk about something.
Let each of them
Well,
negotiate.
as we started today, the new Parsha reading, right? Those that do it.
Yeah.
Noach, right? Wasn't the new
Yes.
Parsha this week, Noah? I read it and then I went and watched the movie with Russell Crowe. I don't know if anybody's done any research on it or read the articles about it, but
Here
that
he is.
movie that Christianity hated because it was based on the Kabbalistic version of Noah, the way it truly would have been, and they took it out of the biblical writings and a lot of biblical history as to how it actually went down and how everything, the watchers were encrusted and everything. It comes out of the Hebrew. And so, yeah, Christianity didn't like that a lot. It wasn't a really pretty movie, but it was more logical as to how it might happen. So I kind of tried to play it. I read the Parsha and then I went and read it and see if I could play it into it. It was rough.
Welcome back, Rabbi.
Is he back?
Yes, but we can't hear him.
Mine's locked up now.
I'm not seeing him on my page.
I can see you, Rabbi, but I cannot hear you. You look as though you're on your phone.
Let's try.
And it's gone again.
No, he's right. That's attitude for the Noah film, the last one. Yeah, I had a lot of Christian friends that said it wasn't very well produced at all. I said it was. I said it was according to Torah. I said it's got nothing to do with your Christian version. It was as it is written, and they didn't like it.
Yeah, there is an article in the Haaretz with the two about the two rabbis that were the consultants on it. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Well, as it goes, 2 rabbis.
3 opinions.
Rabbi, can you hear us?
A power outage.
Same again, Rabbi. We can see you, but
Can you hear me now?
We
can hear you now. Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay. We have a very dark here. You see, as you can see in all of the area, everything is dark. All the electricity fell down. So,
That's
but
because you're
you
not
can
buying
continue,
Russian
see.
gas.
You're more than right. Yes, this is the problem that we bought the Russian guy. Fair enough. So I just wanted to show you in the Hebrew Bible it says that God had put in Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. It's called Le'ovda u'Leshomra. Those are two, I will say, two movements in the will of the person. On one side, to do good actions, le'ovda, and on the other side, to not to do bad things. Okay, leshomra, to hold it from bad things. And this is the beginning of everything. God didn't ask Adam and Eve to sit down in the Garden of Eden without doing anything. They need to do something. And on the same thing, also God is asking people to do things. What exactly is he asking to do? He's asking to do good things to others in a way that will bring people to a situation that they are getting, they're doing good things to others. And this is you lost me again? I hope you didn't lose me again.
Only
Just
the
a picture.
That's your
Oh,
picture.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. This is what's happening. Okay. Don't think that I'm God, okay? This is, you don't see me, that's not that I'm God.
We see your finger moving.
Yay! Fair enough. So, but this is one of the most important things that God is asking us to do actions. The angels, they don't do any actions in this world. This is one of the most unique things that we have here that the people can do actions, and the actions are doing things also in the spiritual world. It's moving things in the spiritual world. When we are willing to do things, as more as it's hard for us to move and to do things, this is where it's moving a lot of other things in the spiritual world and giving strength and blessing back to this world. And it's not only for the Hebrew people. Again, those things are happening or doing or influencing also for others, not only for the Hebrew people. It's not, this is one of the most important things. The Noahide movement is not a new religion or something else. This is part of the Hebrew world, okay? How they see this world that is helping everybody to move the world, to progress the world to a better stage, all of us together. And those are the most, I will say, fundamental things that we have here in this world that the Hebrew nation is teaching. First of all, that we have relation, connection with something from the infinite, from the outside of this world. The second thing also that we need to do actions. We are doing our best not to be, I will say, not to deal with any idolatry. This is also related to the question, who is God? You know, all the people who were teaching along history, all sorts of ideas, who is God? And we need to define God in this way and that way. The Hebrew nation is not dealing with those things. The Hebrew nation said, God spoke with us, we're speaking with God, that's it. We don't know exactly who is God. Okay, go to Yeshaya, who saw God sitting on a chair, and you know that God doesn't have anybody to sit on it. No, he doesn't have a body to sit on a chair. And if you will ask him, you will ask Yeshaya, okay, this God that you saw, it was in this way, in that way, he will answer you, I don't know what you're speaking about. I saw God, I spoke with God. God was speaking with me, that's it. And how exactly God spoke with people, we don't know. We don't have we don't have prophecy in the last 24 centuries. Fair enough, it will return back. But the Hebrew people restored it. The Hebrew people are reserving these prophecy ideas to the sages. And this is why we're saying, I will tell you that in the last 3 months, I've heard few, I will say, very smart people that explained to me that all of this idea of having I will say, the oral Bible, it's they don't need it. They know how to explain the Bible by themselves. You know, the Bible was given a few thousand years ago in a different era when we had the prophecy. Even the Hebrew people who knows Hebrew have difficulties with understanding the Bible, you know, to the bottom of the Bible. But people who know English and know mainly I will say it's really funny sometimes to think about it. They know English and they know, you know, the translation of the King James Version that is really misinterpreting a lot of things. They understand the Bible and how to read it and what exactly the Bible wants to tell them and what God wants to tell them. Without the oral rules of or without the oral, I will say, explanation or the thing of the rabbis of Israel. It's a bit of funny, but you know, hopefully more and more that we will continue on, people will start to realize what's happening here. Those are the main points that I wanted to mention tonight. And next week we will continue on, but I have time, and my battery is still full enough, so we have time. You can ask questions, use the opportunity, and I will answer from the darkness. Maybe I will answer. Oh, now you can see me a bit more. Yes, okay.
I was wondering then, Rabbi, if it was coming from the dark, are we listening to the word of God from the dark?
I said, I'm not God, be careful with that. Yes. Yes, if there are any, if you want to ask something, if you want, it's a long time we didn't saw each other. It's really, I had a very good time, pleasant time with my family. It was great, but like everything good, it's also stopped. It's also finished. This is life. I can't believe that Italo doesn't have any questions. It's okay.
I'm
Rabbi,
wondering.
there's a question in the chat room.
Yeah, please.
Jan asked, was the blessing from Isaac, you will live by the sword, is it from himself or from God?
It was from God, okay? And in the Hebrew, by the way, it says like that, Al charbecha tichyeh. And the word charbecha is on one side the word sword, and on the other side it's also the word churban. Churban is destroyed. So the meaning of this is, if you're living on your sword, you will also destroy yourself. Now, let's look for a moment in another level of, I would call it, in another profound level. Today, that we know that we have the possibility of destroying the world with a nuclear bomb, okay? I will call it like that. The nuclear bomb is the most sharpest sword that we have today. Once the sword was only men in front of a man with one sword. Then we went to another stage and we built up a sword of a gun, and shooting with a gun. From far away, you can kill more than one. Then we went and we built up bombs. And then we went and we built up the nuclear bomb and the Meiman bomb. Okay, they're the most highest bombs that we have. But we can also destroy ourselves. And this is exactly what the Bible is saying. In Hebrew, you can live on the sword, and the meaning of this is that you will manage to come to a stage that you will destroy yourself if you won't stop it. This is the meaning of this, the full meaning of this. Again, you can say that you can understand everything in the English, okay? But the English is, with all of the respect, is not saying all the things that the Hebrew is saying. Here's an example, okay? By the way, an example.
Are you saying that to live by the sword is to die by the sword is a Jewish saying?
No, Isaac is blessing. We're in the middle of the chapter of the blessings of Isaac and Jacob. Next week, we're going to remind ourselves a few things and to add more new things, and then we'll be able to continue. And one of the things is that Isaac is blessing Isaac is blessing Esau that he will live on his sword. But in the Hebrew, it says, Al charbecha tichyeh, you will live on your sword. But it's not only the word sword. Charbecha is also the word churbancha, that it's also the word, you will be destroyed with yourself. You will destroy yourself on the sword, okay? And this is what we saw, that the continuous of the sword, it starts with, one sword, someone is managing, if two are fighting on the sword, one will live and one will die. And then you're going to the gunfires, and then you're going to the missiles, and then you're going to something that can destroy the world, right? The nuclear bomb can destroy the world. So your sword if you will live on your sword, you will be able to come to a situation that you're going to destroy yourself. This is basically what Isaac is telling him. He's telling him, we know, for example, the Crusades, how do you say it? The Crusades journey that they went to Jerusalem. The Crusades, okay? What exactly was the Crusades? It was a lot of fights, a lot of fights, right? Between the Christian and the Muslims in the 12th century there. They killed a lot of Jewish on the way. Why not? But they were living on the sword, okay? This is also one of all the debates, all the discussions that there were between the rabbis and the Christian people. The Christian people said that the Messiah already came. So the Hebrew rabbi said to them, okay, it says that when the Messiah will come, there will be no wars. But we still see that every king is he have a lot of army that he is all the time preparing them to a war, because there are a lot of wars here. So the Messiah didn't come yet. Okay, but again, if you're living on your sword, it can bring you to a stage that you will destroy yourself.
Isn't it that Gog and Magog comes before Mashiach?
Sorry?
Isn't the war of Gog and Magog coming before Mashiach, which would end the weapons era? And
so
bring
some prophets are saying this, but let me tell you again, I don't have the computer because we're not, the internet is not working. But I must say that, and it's supposed to be very clear, every bad, listen good to what I'm going to say now, every bad prophet, like for example, war, something like that, it's not 100% will come.
True. It can be
There's a
changed.
possibility that it won't come. What we're doing here in the Noahide World Movement is trying to prevent that it won't come through a war. The issue is that everybody will acknowledge that God is Almighty and He is controlling the world. There are two ways. One is through a very hard war that will come. This is what it's called, Armageddon, whatever it is. I don't care all the names that people are bringing. And it could be also, in a way, without any wars, through that people will acknowledge God through the Noahide World Center, okay, by becoming a Noahide. And then we don't need the war. God is not saying, again, every bad prophet not supposed to come. It's not 1% will come. It depends. It depends on us. As
True.
more that we will do actions to bring the knowledge of God to the world, we will manage to prevent the big war of the day of God, because it will come without a war. Very simple. And very promising and very inspiring. Think about this.
Is it frequent that you lose electricity?
No. I don't know. First of all, no. But someone asked me today. We had the first rain of this season of the winter, and a lot of times on the first rain of the winter we have difficulties. And another thing, maybe I don't know. Don't take me with this. You all know that we have a very tense situation with the Arabs in those days. And it might be that it's also, I'm in a neighborhood very close to Jerusalem that is not far from the Arabs, and they're doing from time to time all sorts of difficulties for us. But I don't care, so we're not going to leave here. So you're going to stay here. So it might be this, I don't know. In a moment, when we will finish the class, I will try to understand what's happening. If I will still have a bit of battery in the in the phone. If not, I will go to sleep and I will wake up very early in the morning. So
Baruch Hashem for the first rain in Israel.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Everything
Rabbi,
Yes.
I hope you're doing well.
Hi, Paul. You called me. I'm sorry.
Yes, I was wondering what was going on with you, Rabbi. I was worried about you. I know they're fighting a lot over there, and I got worried.
No, fine. Everything is fine, and I'm at home. Everything is fine. Yes.
I wanted to get back to the bracha that they gave Esau. It's outside the covenant of Abraham. It's a separate bracha itself. It's not included with the bracha that Abraham got from God, is it? It's an outside. When Esau cried out to his father to give him a blessing, was there any blessing left? It was outside this blessing. It was outside the covenant that he made with Abraham.
It's not 100% outside. It's not 100% inside. It's something in the middle. Part of the bracha, the blessing, is related with Abraham, and part of the bracha is a bit different than Abraham. It's a bit confused there together. I'm going to show this next week on the verses themselves. But part of the blessing, by the way, the word blessing is also related about the difference between Immanuel Kant as a category. I'm not speaking only about him, or about those secular people who are saying that we are relying only on our brain and our understanding. And the
It's
Hebrew
the same idea with the might of the sword. They're relying on the sword for prosperity.
Yes, you're right.
Right?
You're right. You're right. And those are two ways. In the way of the Hebrew tradition or Hebrew people to rely on the infinite, on the outside of the world, and therefore being a blessing to the world and to the nations, for all of the nations. And this is what Abraham basically got. When he realized that there is the infinite outside of the world, this is where he started to get the blessing much more than the world. So, but the blessing to Esau is half-half. You know, part of it is really related with Abraham, and part of it is a bit different.
Well, the house of Yaakov continue to rise.
Yes, thank God.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Excellent. Okay, people. Hope everything is fine with all of you. Not all of you spoke today. It's okay. Still, I don't know. Yes, it is. Okay, fair enough. Okay, people. Hopefully next week. By the way, I said it. I'm going to be in Canada in another 4 weeks, right? Something like that. Angelica, we're going to meet each other in person. You're all welcome to come. And I'm going to be in Vancouver, and on the way back, I'm going to be in Germany for a few hours, and we're going to meet people there also in the Noachide. And we have also a big conference in the South America. You know that, Italo? You know that? So I will connect tomorrow. I'm going to meet the person that we're going to send there, and I'm going to connect you with him. Okay. But in South America, we also have a very big conference in January, and we also will have another conference in Europe in January. And everything is waking up. So cheer up, you're in the right way, all of you.
Rabbi,
We'll have
remind people that daylight hours change in Israel next Friday.
no, you're more than right.
And in
Next Saturday night, we will be moving the light, the clock. Yes, you're right. Good that you're saying it. We're going to stay at the same time, but it will be 1 hour late.
Exactly the same times as UK, luckily, but there are, I understand, Pacific Daylight Time and some of the American times will be different.
Okay. We will remind people also with the internet, everything fine. Excellent. Good that you mentioned it. So see you all next week, hopefully, and we will learn all those blessings that Isaac gave to Jacob, to Esau, to Jacob again. And we will continue on with Genesis.
Stay safe.
you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you all.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Bye, everyone. Shalom.
Shalom.